Hello, I'm Enzo, and how hard is it to beat Terraria with only Borderlands guns? Starting out, you might notice a few things. I thought a death counter would be neat, but since I'm stupid, I put it over the hotbar without realizing, so that's going to be annoying for the entire run. But the most important thing here is the new items I start with. This run is centered around the Project Vaulthalla mod, which adds some guns from Borderlands 2 and 3 into Terraria. I also added the Signature Equipment mod, which basically adds an XP system to your weapons and optionally your gear and accessories, but it's not great in the short term, however it will be useful later on in the run. You start out with a basic repeater, the same starting weapon as in Borderlands 2. Since Project Vaulthalla is constantly updating, I noticed that they changed the starting ammo from rubber bullets that did almost no damage to gelid bullets that deal fire damage, which I think is way better. Probably one of the best changes so far. If you've ever watched another Terraria video, you can probably tell what my first goal is to do. Chop down a bunch of trees and make some housing. This is important normally, but I have an extra emphasis on trying to do this early on in this run because I'm going to desperately need ammo. And since I have both a gun and ammunition, the arms dealer can actually move in from the start and give me ammo, which will be very, very important. Quality of life mods are basically required when you're doing a Terraria run, and I really love instant houses from Fargo's Mutant mod. They're extremely convenient, and they save me a ton of time. While exploring the world, I realized that the Vanilla Plus Quality of Life mod adds contact damage to cacti. This is a neat feature, but it's extremely annoying in the early game. One of my favorite parts about this mod is, at least for the early game, it recreates the exact same feeling you get in Borderlands 2 when you get a piece of iridium. It's always exciting to find some iridium in this mod. The arms dealer also moved in at the same time, which is very nice. So yeah, traversing the desert is still extremely slow and annoying. And it gets even worse if I have to fight an enemy while dodging cacti. Just a bit past the desert, I stumbled upon a cave and decided to start exploring it when I just happened to find an abandoned building. I think that's what they're called, I honestly don't remember. And in the chest, of course, I get a mace and a flare gun. Those are going to be very useful for this run. The nice thing about that though is that I can sell them, which lets me buy ammo, so I guess they do have at least a slight purpose. As much as I love the changed gelid bullets, I'm still gonna need normal musket balls, as gelid bullets are not sustainable, but normal musket balls are. Not too far from the right of our main base, I find the corruption. This is kind of nice, but also a little annoying, because that means I'm gonna have to traverse early game corruption to get anywhere on the right side of the world. Past the corruption is the snow biome. This is also when I should probably mention what I've forgotten so far, and that this world is actually in expert mode, and I forgot to equip my cactus armor. The reason this world's in expert mode is because, even though I have not tested it on master, and I definitely should, the Project Vaulthalla mod says it only drops certain weapons in expert mode, which I'll go over those certain weapons later on. I always forget how annoying the snow biome is as well with the freaking slowing water. This is literally one of the worst things in the game. I hate being slowed. Back to the left side of the world, I found some giant trees, and, conveniently, an aglet, which is one of the few useful accessories you can get from wooden chests. More iridium, and the jungle biome. When I went back to the desert, I noticed this little cave here. First of all, there appears to be lava this early up on the surface. I don't think that's normal. But more importantly, I obtained a flying carpet, which is extremely good. The traveling merchant also happened to arrive, but as usual, nothing good. At least nothing I can use. Finding the giant pyramid was extremely convenient because that gives me easy access to the underground desert. This is why I found that I had tungsten ore, which is awesome because now I can make tungsten bullets. But more importantly, I'm down in the underground desert, so I can get some fossils to make fossil armor, which I kind of need because I'm a ranger. You know, Borderlands, guns, and all. The only issue? I absolutely hate the underground desert. It might just be my least favorite biome in the entire game. The enemies here deal an unholy amount of damage. They're extremely difficult. The cacti deal an unholy amount of damage and roll everywhere. In total, I don't like it. I don't have much defense, and my damage is horrible, so it's going to take me a while to get through any part of this biome. But at least the underground desert is a lot easier with mods, especially Ore Excavator, because I can dig out all the desert fossil without too much hassle. And this is the exact reason I hate the underground desert. It's almost fitting that my first death would be to something down there, but I was not expecting a sand trap. The worst part is I don't even have an extractinator yet, or enough fossils, so I'll have to go back down there eventually. The golfer is also pretty much useless, but at least the female golfer texture pack makes up for that a little bit. After a bit more pain, I stumble upon what is potentially the best abandoned building I've ever found. First of all, an extractinator, then an ancient chisel, and a bass statue. I literally don't think it gets more perfect than that. All three things I wanted from the underground desert instantly. It's the first chest I opened too, which is awesome. I also found my first heart crystal down here. I've only found one so far, but still, 20 more health is better than nothing. Back at the surface, I started extracting everything from the desert fossils, and I had plenty of sturdy fossils to make myself a nice set of fossil armor. Awesome, now I have some real ranger armor. I also crafted a new fossil pickaxe and an amber hook, which appears to be the best one. Man, the hook power texture pack is extremely convenient. I would have never known any of this otherwise. And I was trying to work on some magic storage, but I realized I was missing a few gems, so I'll need to go get those before I can make some awesome filtered storage. In Terraria, you're naturally going to have to go through a spider cave or two. Rope is the best method I've found to block off the walls from spawning cobwebs. Just an Enzo tip I think might be helpful for some people. I also ran into what is potentially my favorite biome in the entire game, the glowing mushroom biome. It's just beautiful, it's got an awesome soundtrack, and most importantly, has a very high chance of spawning life crystals and chests. And another mace! Thank you, game, that would be very convenient. At least there's a suspicious looking eye, too. Man, I swear, there's something with this game in giving just everyone maces early on. But hey, at least I got a cloud and a bottle from the next chest. That's very nice. And a legendary bat. It's neat. I can't really use it, but that's neat. A bit further down, I found a minecart track, and I love these as well. I found a few that spanned almost the entire world. There's this neat little setup of two abandoned buildings right next to each other. I completely forgot that I actually had a hook that I could have been using the whole time, but you know, this is me we're talking about. In a slightly hidden abandoned building, I found Hermes boots. Awesome. Those are potentially one of the best accessories in the game. I also found an anime painting, thanks to the anime paintings texture pack, so I'll definitely have to put that up in my base. Since I don't feel like building a whole massive base, I'll just dig out an area and put all my paintings here. It's close enough. Further down, another glowing mushroom biome had some more anime paintings, so I'll gladly take them. It was also here that I found one of these iridium deposits. The iridium deposits are another source of iridium, and the mod says they had the same chance as life crystals to spawn, which means glowing mushroom biomes are a great source of them. For example, I can see two up there. And there's my beautiful anime paintings. I don't know these characters, but maybe some of you guys do. A bit past the jungle on the left side of the map is where the ocean is. Cool. I don't know if I'll set up the houses here or on the right side of the world, but it's good to see where the ocean is. But now, since I know where the jungle and the ocean is, I dig down a ways for one specific reason. I find it really quickly, which is very nice, but I've been looking for the Aether biome. I usually have a really difficult time with finding this biome, but at least it was really fast this time. Now, it's useful all throughout the game, but it has an awesome interaction with Project Vaulthalla. When you throw your basic repeater into the shimmer, it turns it into a slightly better repeater. Now, this is not a gun in Borderlands games. This is a gun specific to the mod. All of these inferior weapons are only in this mod. They aren't in Borderlands games, and you'll kind of notice that later on when we start to get special guns. but it's a decent improvement to our old basic repeater. Then I went to build some housing in the desert, the jungle. Then I went back down to the Aether biome to get a cavern pillar. This is awesome because I love easy access to the shimmer. Even though I know that the arms dealer is supposed to go in the desert with the nurse, there's a very specific reason I want him here. One of the guns I want to get later on is the Super Shred-a-Fire, but I don't have all of the things necessary to get it just yet. On the right side of my world, past the snow biome, I found the dungeon. And just a bit past the dungeon, I find the ocean on the right side of the world. This run also might be the first time I've ever planted these gem corn trees, but they come in extremely handy when you need specific gems. Now here's the single best part about having quick access to the shimmer. If you need something, you can just go ahead and shimmer it. I need some sapphires to finish up my magic storage, and boom, I was able to get them almost instantly. Now that I have this, I also crafted an arena platform builder because it's just infinitely more convenient. After that, I crafted a few Womaniquins. Yeah, sure, whatever, so that I could display all of my old armor sets. Back in the underground, since I don't want to break every single torch down my elevator just to clear out some lava, I decided to use the infinite water trick to help clear out some lava pits. And after nearly dying to some lava, I reached the underworld. Since I'm quite a few hours into the run already, I think it's time I finally fought a boss. I don't really have a benchmark for the Eye of Cthulhu fights, because it's been a while since I last played, but I think my damage output is pretty decent. And since it's only expert mode, obviously the fight isn't too difficult. My gear and gun are still the same, the only real change I've made to my loadout is using tungsten bullets for slightly more difficult enemies or bosses. This fight was no real issue because, yet again, expert mode, 300 health, but if the difficulty were higher, I would have a slightly more difficult time. But it's finally nice to have my long-awaited dash. After that, I headed to the Corruption to craft a King Slime summon, and King Slime, or, well, 3 slime girls, thanks to the Monster Girl Enemies texture pack, is usually fought before Eye of Cthulhu, but I usually forget about King Slime, unless I'm playing like Calamity or something way more difficult. King Slime, of course, is going to be easier. You just can't get caught out by all of the minions he spawns. So I killed King Slime, but if you saw during the fight, goblins were invading. Normally this would be extremely annoying, but it's actually pretty convenient because that's the next thing I needed in terms of progression. So I'll have to deal with the goblins real quick. Considering how easily I dispatched the 2 previous bosses, they're not too big of a deal. While I was searching for the Goblin Tinkerer, there are actually 2 types of iridium deposits. These are hidden ones, which I only found because of the map. I think you can normally find them with one of the accessories from the mod, and I believe Splunker potions, but the mini-map works too. Anyways, I found Squidward pretty easily. I gotta say, this is one of my favorite texture packs. And somehow got the Unreal modifier with only 2 reforges. My luck is definitely not gonna last. My next goal was to go and find some sky islands. I would have liked some wings, but I only got a shiny red balloon and a lucky horseshoe, so those will have to work instead. The nice thing about having the cavern pylon this close to the underground jungle is that I have extremely easy access to it. And the best part, I got the Anklet of the Wind on the first chest I found. I still want to find some other stuff in heart crystals while I'm down here, but that was a very nice find. I also managed to find the Lizard Temple really early on, which is great because I normally have a super difficult time with finding this. The only issue is that the entrance was on the other side of where I found it, so I had to do quite a bit of excavation to get to it. I don't know what process just died inside my brain and why I didn't think there would be traps at the entrance, but there you go. Another stupid death. If you can't tell, all of my deaths at this point have been to stupid things. Anyways, next up, I'm building a giant rope coil all the way up into the sky. This sky island just happens to be right next to the dungeon, which is awesome. Normally there aren't any NPCs that enjoy the sky, but thankfully, the mutants, I guess, is that what they are? Whatever. The 3 siblings give you the sibling pylon, and they love the sky the most, so this will work out perfectly. It also gives me very easy access to the dungeon. Next up for progression, I'm looking for a very specific weapon from a very specific enemy. Welcome to the Project Vaulthalla mod. I'm looking for the Bride, who has a chance to drop the Gwen's head. The issue is, the drops in this mod are horrible, and the drop rates are extremely rare, even for the normal weapons. So let me just say, long story short, I farmed a ton of blood moons. I even made an AFK farm for them, but I did not get the Gwen's head. The nice thing, however, is with 15 iridium, you can craft an iridium anvil, which I did. This lets you craft some of the weapons in this mod. So this was kind of my last resort. I got a ton of iridium bars from this event, so that kind of made up for it. With my newfound power, I think it's time to challenge the Eater Worlds. The most annoying thing about the Eater Worlds to me is always trying to get out of the corruption chasms to actually fight him. Making a spawner would have been a better idea, but those are extremely annoying to make. So I just tried my best to get out as fast as possible. I should have made an actual arena, but I thought since my weapon was so powerful, I should just be able to shred him. The only issue is ranger weapons aren't that great against worm-type enemies early game, and I don't have any bullets that can penetrate yet, so this is just going to take a little bit. I upgraded my alchemist charm and waited till night so I can challenge Skeletron. I think this fight's going to be way easier than the Eater Worlds. And besides my aim being horrible, I was pretty much right. Skeletron is mostly easy. You know, just don't get hit by his head. That's kind of the whole thing about this fight. But yeah, not much else to say. You have to be a psychopath to actually like the dungeon. So I plan to get in and out of here as fast as possible. Ore Extractor makes dealing with the spikes very easy. I'm also here for a few water candles for a specific item that'll help me later on. The only thing I'd actually need from the dungeon is just like the brewing station. That's it at this point. I don't technically need anything else. But after breaking another iridium deposit, I actually didn't know that they could drop the resonant iridium, which is very nice. This helps you get extra iridium and reveals the hidden iridium deposits. Not like I needed that much, but I found the mechanic right after, so that's pretty much all I needed from here. Oh yeah, necro armor too. I sometimes forget about that. As a matter of fact, I completely forgot about it and just got the bones because I got the bones. Also, during the whole blood moon thing, I was attempting to make the battle cry to get crazy increased spawns, but the only issue was I could only get 3 water candles out of the dungeon before the dungeon guardian spawned. Actually, I didn't even try to play chicken. I got 3 and was too afraid to go any lower. So I decided to get myself a few more accessories and buy some battle potions while I was over here. It's also very nice that you can just craft demon altars and put them in the magic storage to craft with demon altars. It is beautiful. But there we go, the battle cry. This will be useful in multiple stages of the game. I also have to say, that might be one of my favorite paintings. One of the greatest anime of all time, Cory in the House. Anyways though, I bought those 2 accessories because it's extremely annoying farming for everything for the Terraspark boots, as well as the angler tackle bag. The only issue was, I forgot about the ice skates. Well, I might as well get them legitimately because I bought everything else. My first trip to the snow biome was very much unsuccessful in finding the ice skates that I needed. However, I got a bunch of flinks fur, so I thought I'd fight the Deerclops that I literally never fight, or never remember exists. So here it is. The Deerclops fight is actually really difficult. It's not that bad in normal game, but man, Calamity and Infernum Deerclops is horrible. One of the most difficult bosses for sure. This is easy in comparison. It would have been much easier with an arena, but I could fly up pretty high. The only real annoying thing was getting slowed from all of the frozen water puddles. At this point, I've explored almost the entire underground snow biome, and I was beginning to lose hope. However, one of the last chests I found, well, the last one of the trip at least, I finally found my ice skates. Awesome, now I can go craft my Terraspark boots that I've wanted for so long. I went to go reforge my stuff because I keep forgetting to do that, and my luck was not so great this time. This is what normal reforging luck looks like. I was planning to reforge my Terraspark boots, but after looking at the price, yep, I put them back instantly. Unlike normal runs, there's actually nothing I need in the underworld besides the normal Hellstone, so I'll just sell it all for money, because that's going to be important for later. Well, actually, money's always important. I also got one of the few anime paintings I can actually recognize. I'm pretty sure that's Minneapolis from Azure Lane. That's who it looks like, at least. Red eyes, tan skin, that hair? That's my best bet. I completely forgot that earlier on a meteor fell. So after quite a while and finding it, of course, in the corruption in one of the chasms, I decided to start mining it. This is so that I can get some meteor shot rounds, which should hopefully give me a better chance with the wall of flesh. And now, well, I need a graveyard biome, and there's pretty much only one way to do that. Now, I'm not going to count these as deaths because they're like artificial deaths, not natural, so you could count them. I don't remember exactly how many, but I think it might have been over 10, 12, something like that. But anyways, I need these so I can get tombstones to make a graveyard biome. The graveyard biome is required for a few things, so I'll be back once I'm done dying. So, the first thing I need a graveyard biome for. If you remember from earlier, there's something I want from the arms dealer. The Super Shredifier. This thing is awesome. It's also cool that they added a special line of text when you get it. But that 1 platinum hurt to spend, trust me. I'm surprised I even had that much. I guess it's a good thing I raided hell. Much like the Super Shredifier in Borderlands, this thing absolutely shreds both enemies and my ammo. But the second reason I need a graveyard biome is to farm ghosts. I need ghosts because they have a chance of dropping a gun called the Cure. It's a Jacob shotgun that actually heals you when it deals damage. So I think I'm going to be here for a while. I also got a ton of vanity sets, and thanks to some of the mods I have, there's some that actually looked pretty neat. You got Diva's outfit, one that looks just like a normal sweater, which I like the most, and I also got cat ears. The only sad thing was, while I was selling all of my stuff, I accidentally sold the cat ears and had no head accessory, so that was truly sad. So at this point, I could tell my luck was horrible. I was just not getting the cure from ghosts. So I started the journey of trying to make a luck charm, which involves a lot of luck potions and a bunch of other annoying to get resources. For example, black ink, which is one of the worst items to get. It's just so annoying, it's such a rare drop. Luckily, I saw that after you get one, you can actually buy another from the dye trader. However, I happened to get a second one, so that won't be necessary. This is also when I remembered that the Torch God thing exists, so I'll do that real quick. It definitely helps you with your dodging abilities, if you have any in the first place. I don't, if you can't tell already. A while after I consumed the luck potion, and after a ton of farming, I finally got the cure to drop from a ghost. The best part? I got an Unreal version. So that'll save me a bit of money on reforging. As you can see, if you're using normal bullets, this thing will heal you a little bit on hit. I think they actually nerfed this in one of the updates because the healing used to be insane. I think this is way more balanced now. I also expanded the anime painting collection quite a bit. I was also planning to reforge the Super Shredifier, but the price tag was just way too high. Next up, I need a platform to fight the Wall of Flesh. The only issue is that the double obsidian bridge platform thingy costs like, 2,000 obsidian platforms? Thankfully, I have the ore excavator mod, so I can just tear down these buildings quickly and get plenty of obsidian bricks to make obsidian platforms. Beautiful. Now, you might be wondering why I'm doing this. Well, thankfully, I don't need any of the underworld biome to stay intact. I just need an arena to fight the Wall of Flesh. It also took me quite a while to get a guide voodoo doll. In a normal run, you get guide voodoo dolls all the time when you don't want them, but you get none when you're actually trying to find one. The Wall of Flesh fight was way easier with the meteor shot rounds. I could have been using normal rounds with the cure to help to get some healing, but the meteor shot penetrates through enemies, meaning I can hit the hungry and the Wall of Flesh eyes at the same time. This is one of the easier Wall of Flesh fights I've ever done, and it was definitely thanks to this awesome combo. It's a shame I didn't bring any purifying power because that was the tax collector right there, also known as Darkness. Conveniently, I happened to get the Ranger emblem immediately, but I mean I had Shimmer so it would be fine either way, and a Clockwork Assault Rifle which would be nice in a normal run, but you know I can't really use it here. The other great thing about Fargo's Mutant mod is the ability to buy boss summons, because trust me, I am desperately going to need them for this run. I didn't have that much gold so I could only buy a few, but I'm going to be farming the Wall of Flesh. I also got some purification powder just in case. Now, if you're wondering why I'm farming the Wall of Flesh, well, he has 2 drops from the Project Vaulthalla mod. I got the Hellwalker pretty early on, but that's his normal drop. The Hellwalker, just like the one in Borderlands 3, plays some awesome metal when you get it and shoot it. However, since it's elemental, all of your bullets will be converted into that type of damage, no matter what they are. So if you have special bullet effects, well, they won't proc with an elemental gun. They'll just be normal fire bullets. So anyways, there are 3 other Empyrean weapons I need to find. The Wall of Flesh can drop one of them. The only issue is, Empyrean is just like Pearl Essence in Borderlands 2. They are insanely rare. I don't know how many times I had to fight each of these bosses, but let me just tell you, it was a ton. I'm talking dozens, even hundreds of summons just to get what I was looking for. The reason I cut out most of the footage is because I would have hours upon hours of footage if I didn't. This is also the main reason I got the Super Shredifier. It is definitely going to help, especially with the signature equipment mod. So as I kill the Wall of Flesh more, it gets way more damage and makes the farming easier, and so on. So yeah, I'll just cut back in a while, once I've gotten what I've been looking for. Oh yeah, I also found Darkness, aka the tax collector, so I purified her, and now I can collect taxes. After a while, I wanted something else to do for a bit, so I decided to start mining some hard mode ores. That's when I remembered that there's an item that exists that allows you to break every single altar in the world. I've actually never used this before, but I have to say, it is absolutely beautiful. It really does live up to its name as the Wraithmaker. There were so many that I didn't think I could kill them all with the Hellwalker, so I had to use my Super Shredifier. Still though, this is one of the greatest things I've ever seen in this game. The funny thing is, I haven't even crafted a molten pickaxe yet, so I'll do that now. And I went on a mining spree. It took me a long time to get all the titanium I needed to make a full set of armor, but here we are. My 3rd set of armor. Titanium. Beautiful. I also wanted to get some wings for a little bit more mobility, so I need to kill some wyverns, which is pretty easy with the battle cry, even though they deal a ton of damage on contact for some reason. On my way to cancel the blood moon that was going on because it was super annoying, a harpy very generously dropped me a giant harpy feather, so that kind of solves my wings issue now. I didn't really know what I was going to make before, but I was likely going to farm for pixie wings, but I guess I don't have to do that anymore. Now, this is something I would actually normally do. This is the infinite crystal shard glitch, and it's pretty much how it sounds. Lets you get infinite crystal shards. The best use for this, obviously, is money, but since that's not a main issue for me right now, I'm actually using it to craft crystal bullets. Now, because the Hellwalker is incendiary, the bullets don't do anything special, so I'll mostly just have them because they're relatively easy to craft and for their damage. I honestly don't know what I was doing here, but I kind of killed a rune wizard and got his cool vanity set, so I'll gladly take that. It looks awesome with the waifu pack. Next up, one of the big issues I always have in Terraria is light. Lighting just always seems to be horrible, especially if you don't have a light pet, which I don't currently. So I'm gonna go destroy a ton of shadow orbs in hopes to get one. The only issue? My luck is horrible. I'm not even kidding when I say I think I broke every single shadow orb in the world, and only the last one actually dropped what I was looking for. I don't think my luck has ever been this bad before. Well, actually it's usually this bad, But I finally got my light pet, the Shadow Orb. Obviously there are better ones, but I'll take anything right now. After that, I wanted to fight Queen Slime, so I had to go find her summon. I also need to find the Hollow biome, which was in my jungle, but there's a very small patch of normal Hollow. I know I don't have an arena, but either way I usually struggle with Queen Slime. This time wasn't that bad compared to my other runs, so I'll take it. After getting some buff potions and crafting a ton of ammo, I decided to try and fight Skeletron Prime. I usually don't have a major issue with Skeletron Prime or the twins. It's actually the Destroyer that's always the worst for me. So I want to see how Skeletron Prime would go. He's also the only mechanical boss I had to summon for, so that's the reason I'm fighting him. The Hellwalker's damage isn't crazy or anything, but the fire damage is pretty nice. The only real issue I have is this is pretty much the only hard mode weapon in the Project Vaulthalla mode at this stage. There is another one, but that requires more wall flesh farming. I still just wish there were more weapons for different stages of this game. That is the single issue with this mod. There are so few weapons. And like 3 of them take an unholy amount of farming to get. It's also at this point I finally had the money to be able to buy all the luck potions to craft my 4-leaf clover, which gives me a decent luck buff, which will be very useful for farming. And another interesting thing happened on one of my farming runs. This. I thought for some reason the game was bugged and wouldn't let me teleport, so I reloaded the game, and this happened. Pirates. I never saw the status message, but yeah, pirates. So I have the Dr. Livesey and Pirates texture pack, so that changes the music, so I can't play it here, unfortunately, but it's pretty awesome. I guess I'll have to deal with the pirates real quick before I can do any meaningful progression, but even with all the help in the world, you can't fix stupidity. That's pretty obvious here. If you can see, I accidentally left one of the trapdoors open, and well, yeah, I mean, that was kind of unavoidable. A pirate just spawned on me back at spawn as well, so yeah. Since I deleted most of the farming footage, I don't know how many attempts it was or how long it took, but finally, I got it. The item I was looking for from the wall flesh. The secondary drop from the Project Vaulthalla mod. This is one of the Empyrean guns called the Demon Core. Now, if you know anything about Borderlands, well, this gun isn't in the series. This is very specific to this mod. Now, they have literal thousands of options to go between for Borderlands guns, but they make their own, which honestly is kind of cool. Anyways, the Demon Core is basically a radiation version of the Hellwalker. I also just happened to get the Charm of Myths at the exact same time, so I mean, there's all of my luck gone. So that's awesome. Now I can finally craft my favorite Charm of Myths, and I go to reforge my Demon Core. I was a little scared at first, but for some reason it's not that expensive. I think the price should definitely be way higher to reforge it, because it's way too cheap. Since I killed Queen Slime with the Hellwalker already, I wanted to see how fast I could kill her with the Demon Core. And let me just say, yeah, it's pretty decent. Considering this is supposed to be the equivalent to a Pearlescent in Borderlands, of course it should be good. It's also great because Queen Slime spawns a ton of minions, and when you kill an enemy with this gun, it creates a radiation zone. So yeah, that's really good for this fight. Needless to say, she just got melted. I also added tree wood and leaves to my ore excavator list to make felling these massive trees way easier. I farmed a bunch of souls and crafted the summoning items for both the twins and the destroyer. I had a feeling that the Demon Core would work super good on the destroyer, and I was right. He gets melted by pretty much anything, but it was extremely satisfying, especially after being wrecked by the destroyer so many times on master mode. I even killed the destroyer again for some more hollowed bars. But now I can craft my favorite mechanical cart, or the cart upgrade now, my favorite Drax, and of course hollowed armor. And now of course it's time to go to the underground jungle to get chlorophyte and life fruits, as usual. I had to teleport back to my base because I almost died to venom. Conveniently though, I found a tattered bee-wing when I was in the jungle. I didn't find that many life fruits, but that's because they didn't have enough time to spawn. Anyways, this will get me a slightly better pair of wings. Oh yeah, have I mentioned that I haven't killed Queen Bee up until this point? Well, I haven't, because I didn't really need anything from her. I made a massive pit right next to my pylon so that I could start building a giant Plantera arena. The only issue is I kinda died. I really hate the broken armor debuff. Anyways, I cleared out a massive area. This is because Plantera is usually pretty difficult for me, but I'll need to farm her for my next 2 weapons. Oh yeah, have I mentioned pirates yet again? After a ton of AFK sleeping so that more life roots would spawn, I finally remembered that Shimmer exists and that I still need to shimmer a life root and a life crystal. So I'm going to go do that now. But now, time for the Plantera fight. This was extremely nice because the bulb just spawned right next to my arena, so I didn't have to do much running from her. Oh yeah, Monster Girl Plantera. I always forget about that. But anyways, I generally don't struggle with the Plantera fight, and the Demon Core makes the fight a whole lot easier, especially once she enters her second phase, and the Demon Core does radiation area of effect damage because it kills all of her little vines? I don't even remember what they're called. So yeah, overall, easy fight. But like I said, she's the next boss I'm gonna have to farm. So I'm gonna be here for a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean hours of my actual time. Relatively early on, I managed to get the Cloud Kill, which is her normal drop. This is the same Cloud Kill that's in Borderlands 3, and it's actually a really decent weapon. I'm not 100% sure what Corrosive does or what it's best against. It might deal poison damage, or maybe I'm just killing the enemies too fast. But either way, I'll gladly take it. At this point, I started resorting to spawning multiple Planteras and killing them all at once. The issue is, this makes the fight insanely difficult, but at least you get this cool stream of bullets right before I die. In the meantime, I also wanted to set up a small glowing mushroom biome so I could get the truffle for my next armor set. And there's the mushroom. Awesome sprite, by the way. I love the waifu mushroom. And I think this is like the one playthrough where I actually didn't have enough glowing mushrooms to make the armor set. I usually have thousands more than I actually need for the armor set, but not this time. But anyways, Shroomite armor. I was also going to go to the dungeon to hopefully get a sniper scope, but I kind of forgot that was until after Golem, and I kind of just got boned by the skeletons that were there. On the bright side though, I can now craft some Master Ninja gear, which will improve my dash and give me a dodge, which helps out a ton in this run. I don't know why it took me so many runs to finally think of using a Danger Sense potion in the Lizard Temple. I actually have no clue. But I slowly, and I do mean slowly, made my way through the place, because if I hit any trap, it could easily kill me. But yeah, so Danger Sense potions are basically a lifesaver in here. I'll definitely have to note that for future runs. So now it's time to fight Golem. And this might just have been the easiest Golem fight I've ever had. This is thanks to the Cloud Kill. And well, if you know what Cloud Kill does in Borderlands 2 and Gun in 3, well, yeah, it does the same thing in here. Considering Golem stands still most of the time, this was a super easy fight. Although I don't need a gun from Golem, because he doesn't drop any in the Project Vaulthalla mod, I really want the Eye of Golem so I can upgrade my emblem. The only issue with this is my luck is still horrible, meaning I had to kill Golem many times, just to not even get the emblem. I ended up resorting to buying treasure bags, and on my last treasure bag, that's literally all the money I had left, I finally got the Eye of Golem. With this, I can craft the Destroyer emblem, which is a great buff. And when I went back to fight Plantera, let's just say I bit off more Plantera than I could chew. This is a very common theme when I'm farming these bosses and enemies. So to get a slight buff to my damage, I went back to the dungeon to finally farm for a sniper scope. After somewhere over 200 farms, I got the Fumigator. This also isn't in Borderlands, and you can probably tell why. The red text says it all. This, of course, is a reference to my favorite Borderlands YouTuber, but it's also just awesome that the devs added that as the red text. Anyways, it's just a radiation version of the Cloud Kill, but it is a good upgrade either way. My reforging luck this time wasn't too bad. Now that I have a better weapon, I want to test it out on Duke Fishron. That's, well, the secondary goal. I mostly just want Fishron wings. The fight was going really well until his third phase, which for some reason I just whiffed horribly. I don't think I've ever messed up this badly in a fight before. So, yeah, I'm gonna have to try that again. Since I'm still using a Ranger emblem, I thought I should upgrade it for a bit more damage. To do that, I need another Eye of Golem. So I summoned a bunch more golems, and apparently multiple golems are kind of weird how they work. Long story short, I was not expecting this to happen, and I kind of just got melted. Well, at least I've learned my lesson about spawning multiple golems at the same time, and I'll do it the old-fashioned way instead. And since I didn't know the right ratio of nanites to empty bullet casings, I bought a few too many nanites. And these things are extremely expensive, so definitely not good to buy too many. Yet again, I still can't use the special effect of nano bullets, but I like the damage from them. I could have made an infinite ammo bag of basically any ammo type at this point, but I think crafting a ton of ammo is way more fun. And for the golem, long story short, I went back to the treasure bag method. On my way to farm Duke Fishron again, I got probed, and decided it was a good time to do the Martian Madness event. Now, I think Martian Madness is a really cool event, but the little turrets that some of the Martians can build deal an unholy amount of damage. I don't think the Martian saucers are even that bad. It's literally just those turrets that they build off screen deal an unholy amount of electrocute damage and usually kill you, That's literally the only issue I have with it. However, I am going to have to farm the saucers because they drop the next two guns. Well, actually the last two guns in this mod pack. But finally, I can get back to farming Duke Fishron. And on the fourth Fishron that I killed, he finally dropped his wings. Awesome. And honestly, Fargo's Mutant mod is the true savior of this run. I don't know how many hours it would have taken to farm all these enemies otherwise. But here's the ASMD. This gun sucks for being this difficult to get and this late on. Sure, it works good against normal zombies, but against anything more difficult than that, yeah, it legitimately sucks. Needless to say, I'll be using the fumigator to keep farming the Martian saucers until I finally get what I'm looking for. After, yet again, an unholy number of Martian saucers, I got the KP1216. This is kind of like a slag ASMD, but it's more like an SMG in how it fires. Thinking about it now, technically you're supposed to use this with other weapons and not alone because, it slags the enemies. But oh well. I'll be using this gun to hopefully beat the rest of the game. And here's a dummy to kind of reference my damage numbers. They are a bit skewed because of the signature equipment mod. I leveled up the fumigator a ton by farming all of those Martian saucers. But still, I mean, yeah, it's kind of ridiculous how much damage this gun really does at this point. I should have tried just a base version without signature equipment, but still, I think it's awesome. For the final things I need in this run, I need a larger hollow biome. To do that, I need to move the steampunker into the hollow biome, so I can buy blue solution so that I can spread the hollow. And I think the perfect spot for it is on the right side of our world, just before the ocean. I also happened to get one of the whatever things that spawn Empress of Light are called to spawn, so I thought, why not? How bad could the fight go without a platform? And let's just say, pretty bad. I thought I was doing pretty good at first, but yeah, she heavily limited where I could go, which made the fight insanely difficult. Long story short, I died right near the end. But now, with a proper arena finally built, it's time for revenge. Prismatic Lacewing, that's what they're called. Cool. I have to say though, I think the Empress of Light might just be my favorite fight in Terraria. It's a really well-designed fight, an awesome sprite, well, I think that's one of my texture packs as well, but she just has beautiful colored attacks, I love the rainbow. Overall, amazing fight, but it is extremely difficult, especially in mods like Calamity. And especially Master Mode, or worst of all, Daytime Empress of Light. The fight was definitely a whole lot easier now that I had a massive platform to rely on. So, you might also be wondering why I killed the Empress of Light. Well, I don't need her wings, but they are pretty decent. I don't know if they're the same or better than Fishron wings, but I'll keep my Fishron wings for now. But luckily, I only have to kill her once, because after defeating her, you unlock the Company Man accessory/relic. And just like the relic in Borderlands, well, actually, I don't remember what it does, but it gives you a chance to save ammo and it increases your damage with the same manufacturer of that weapon. Unfortunately, there are no Empyrean Company Mans, as far as I'm aware, but thankfully, at least you can shimmer them to get all of your iridium that you spent back. But speaking of Daytime Empress of Light, I've actually never beaten her, so let's just completely annihilate her with the Fumigator. But now, it's finally time for Luna, the Lunatic Cultist. Yeah, I'm using another texture pack here. Kinda makes sense. The issue is the texture pack actually made this fight more difficult because I had no clue which one was the real or fake cultist. I usually struggle with this fight because I can't tell the real from the fakes, and it's even worse this time. There's probably no one else that messes that phase up that badly. Besides that though, the fight is relatively easy thanks to one of my favorite accessories, the Soaring Insignia, whatever. It makes the fight a whole lot easier because I can fly infinitely, which means I can dodge way easier. Considering how little damage my gun currently does, I kind of need all the range and all the dodging I can get. But now it's finally pillar time. And the, well, not horrible damage, I guess, of the KP1216 kind of shines here. I definitely think it's a really good weapon if you pair it with something else to take advantage of the slag damage, but I think the main thing holding me back here is my horrible dodging ability. I took so many hits, and from the Stardust Pillar nonetheless. I am getting wrecked by the Stardust Pillar. Also, dropping 1 platinum is extremely sad. Still, I forget how annoying farming the first pillar each time is, because you have to kill 100 enemies on the first time. 50 isn't nearly as bad, but if you fail to kill the Moonlord and you have to keep doing it over and over, it gets really annoying. I still honestly have no clue how I'm being bodied by the Stardust Pillar, but I think it has something to do with my lack of movement speed. I really should be using my dash more, but I keep forgetting that I have that. I also completely forgot to mention the Monster Girl Lunar Pillar texture pack. It's absolutely awesome and makes the Lunar Pillar so much more fun to destroy. After struggling to kill even the mini star cells, I took down the Stardust Pillar. In a normal Ranger run, I would go for the Vortex Pillar first, but in this run, I have no use for it. That's why I'll be doing it second, because I think this is probably the second easiest. I don't know though, because I always struggle with this one as well. The enemies deal an unholy amount of damage. If you get the debuff, you can't control your gravity. Overall, the Vortex Pillar is also a horrible time. I don't know why I'm struggling so much on this playthrough specifically. Is it really all the damage of my gun and my slow movement speed? Because I don't think I've really ever struggled with the pillars this much since they were first introduced into the game. But I legitimately didn't know how to play the game back then, so now I'm really confused. After recalling to heal quite a few times, I finally managed to take down the Vortex's shield and the Vortex Pillar itself. The only issue I've ever had with the Solar Pillar is not being able to fly due to the crawlpedes. That's literally the only issue I have with it. I think it's relatively easy otherwise, especially compared to the Nebula Pillar, which we'll get to my trauma with the Nebula Pillar, well, once we get there. Yet again, though, I have to go back home to heal a few times, but the Solar Pillar isn't too bad besides that. And now that I have 3 out of the 4 fragments, I crafted up some Nebula fragments so that I could make even better healing potions, which I will definitely need. And finally, the Nebula Pillar. So, for some reason, the Nebula Pillar is just the worst for me. You got teleporting enemies that can latch onto your brain and restrict your visibility. Overall, I think it's a horrible experience. I've always struggled with the Nebula Pillar, even since it was introduced. As a fun fact, I don't know if it's still in the game, but I believe as you save and quit multiple times, the pillar actually goes lower and lower until it can even go into the ground. So I'm not even kidding, the first time I destroyed the Nebula Pillar, I had to blow a huge portion of ground out with dynamite to be able to reach it. So yeah, past trauma with the Nebula Pillar. I have to say though, all of the Monster Girl lunar pillar designs are absolutely awesome. But now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, the Moon Lord himself. You might also notice something. My gun has the slow prefix. Yeah, I didn't have the money to reforge it enough. That's probably why this fight went so horribly. I used the soaring insignia for infinite flight, which definitely helps out a lot, but I had no Rod of Discord, making the fight a little bit more difficult because I have to be better at dodging his main eye laser. I also somehow failed the damage per second check that he does, so yeah, that's kind of a bad sign. Another bad sign is me also taking all of these hits and already having to use a healing potion. I think I've always really struggled with the Moonlord fight, and it's pretty obvious. I'm not great at dodging. It's hard to set up the main eye attack in the right direction. What made you think I was going to beat Moonlord on my first attempt? My first mistake was not reforging my KP1216 to Unreal. I'm gonna fix that now. And of course I have to do all the pillars all over again, but the Fumigator helps a lot with that, as well as the battle cry. Alright, second time, well, it's not the charm, but I think it should definitely be better than the first, since I've learned now. My new strategy is to try and stay as far away from the Moonlord as possible, so that I don't get hit by his eye laser. Or at least have enough distance to be able to predict where it's going to go. Circling him seems to also be really good at dodging all of his abilities. After a close fight, and after going halfway across the map, I finally defeated the Moonlord, and figured out that it's a little bit difficult to beat Terraria with only Borderlands guns. But this was a super fun run, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And here's the power of the crazy leveled up Fumigator. Yeah, it's a whole world of difference between the KP1216. But I really think just the red text is carrying the Fumigator. I mean, you really can't beat Put the Stinky on him. To wrap up the run, I crafted myself a set of vortex armor and decided to buy the boss rush from Fargo's Mutant mod. Like I said, this run was a ton of fun, and I really love playing Terraria. So if you guys love Terraria as well, please leave a like and comment telling me that you guys like Terraria, because I have a few different Terraria runs planned in the future that might also be enjoyable. Anyways, thank you all for watching yet again. Especially thank you to my channel members. And this is going to be Enzo from LookIntoGaming, signing out.